Hello, hello, and welcome to Coaching Corner with me, Tracy Forsyth. So, did you know that 2024 is the year that Gen Z, the generation born between 1996 and 2010, is predicted to overtake baby boomers in the workplace? It's so exciting. So, now we have a workforce that is made up of baby boomers, Gen X, like me, millennials, and Gen Z. And you might have noticed that that has led to some tensions as the values of yesteryear and now, the values of now sometimes clash. So, leaders in organizations, I have a lot of people that I'm working with who are saying, well, I want to tell my Gen Z this is how it works. Well, that's not how it works anymore. So it's nothing new. In fact, intergenerational differences have gone on since the beginning of time. Each generation has had its own ways of thinking and expressing themselves, and each generation has thought they know best, probably, or that the older generation were fuddy-duddies and out of touch. And older generations, I think, cliche, come from the perspective of this. Well, this is how it works, and a desire for the younger generation to conform. And where would we be if that happened? Victorian era, no, thank you. So, culture, society, ways of thinking are constantly changing. So, it's no good thinking, well, in my day, yada, 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 because what was acceptable in your day may be totally different now. For example, queer. When I grew up, that word was an absolute no no. It was seen as an insult. Nowadays, it's a positive word. So, I love my ancient Greek and all those sayings. And Heraclitus wrote back in ancient Greek that the only thing constant was change. It's nothing new. So I think we just need to get used to it and embrace it. Of course, there is the added danger these days for the older generation, or actually any generation, to get cancelled if they don't get it right. And this has real life implications. No matter what you think about cancel culture, it's here. But it has real life implications, loss of job, reputation, livelihood. So it's important that we get it right. And remember, we're now in a digital age. And even if you've resisted the lure of everything social media and digital, the rest of the world hasn't. So we've got to keep up. So, what can you do if you're terrified to speak or say anything for fear of putting it wrong? Well, here are some ideas that I wanted to share. Number one, have an open mind. The world changes. Be curious about those changes. Take a look at what's positive about those changes. Frankly, I think I'm going to learn more from Gen Z and Gen A than they are from me about the way of the world or the way the world works now. Number two, accept that just because you're older, you don't know everything. No one knows everything. In the same way that my 86-year-old mum still tells me what to do, some of which is correct advice, some of which might be not quite right. Accept that you too will be right about some things and not about others. Number three, listen to understand, and not just to get your point across. You won't ever really understand if you don't listen properly, without interrupting, without trying to interject with the other point of view or your point of view. 2 ears, 1 mouth. So listen more and talk less if you want to understand. Number 5, if in doubt, ask questions. Like, can I check? Can you explain further? From your point of view, what do you think about ... Repeat what you've heard without judgment. Make sure you've understood the perspective, even if you don't agree with it. Number 5, come clean about ignorance. So something like, I'm not quite sure what the right thing to say is, and I don't want to offend anybody. Can you guide me? How would you like to be addressed? And number 6, if you make a mistake, and we all make mistakes, acknowledge it as soon as you can, as soon as you realize, and put it right. So something along the lines of, I think I've put my foot in it or said the wrong thing. I'm so sorry. What should I have said? We are all learning. And even some of my queer younger friends acknowledge that they aren't quite sure of the right thing to say 100% of the time. So remember, we're all part of the same species, Homo sapiens. We're all human. We are different in so many ways, but ultimately, we all have a mind, a body, and spirit. So first and foremost, I think speak human to human. See the connections and not the differences. And I'll finish with another saying that I love, a Hindi saying, love all, serve all, help ever, hurt never. Take care. See you next week.